about ChatGPT. I'm gonna get into ChatGPT for a second, right? So ChatGPT has been a thorn in the side of professors all over the world because their students are going in to ChatGPT and having this thing write essays and papers for them. So a lot of professors and academics are they can't stand this thing, right? So I've been hearing about it. I've never used it. And what I did was I used ChatGPT for the first time today for this episode. All right. Hey, what's up? What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Couch with Rob Fields. I'm your host, Rob Fields. And today we are taking this conversation to tech. Yes, we are going into technology, and the conversation is going to be about AI. All right. Um, I told you all in the last episode, I've been under a rock for a little while, taking care of some stuff. And what I've seen during this time is this just massive, massive, massive overload of text and videos talking about AI, all right, artificial intelligence. And I'll start the conversation like this. My first introduction to AI and what it could do started when I was a very, 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 very young boy watching the cartoons, the Jetsons. Yes, it's George Jetson, Jane, his wife. Yes, the Jetsons. The Jetsons cartoon for me at that time, I mean, it was just a fun cartoon. I enjoyed watching it. And the crazy thing about the Jetsons was that cartoon released in 1962. That's what I just read online. It released in 1962. If I'm wrong, correct me. Let me double check my notes right here. 1962. That's when the show started. And of course, I caught it in the late 80s, early 90s. And the relevance that it carried is unreal. Like that cartoon basically gave us a vision into where technology would go, right? We would have machines making food for us. We would have machines um, bringing food to us and checking us into work and communicating with us. The Jetsons from 1962 told us about this, right? So we can go a little bit deeper into cinema and movies and TV and all of that stuff, right? I know you all remember the movie The Terminator, right? Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. You know, for us being introduced to this AI thing, there's been a lot of mixed ideologies presented to us. So there's some things that are lighthearted and fun, and they basically make us feel good about this AI, such as the Jetsons, and then there's the doom and gloom when you're talking about the Terminator film, right? So when we get into this AI conversation, I like to preface it with that. Like we understand that there was a start to this. And then now, for a lot of people, they're afraid. They're afraid of what's to come. They're afraid of embracing the AI movement. They're afraid of what it could do, what it could be. And that's what this conversation will be about today. Let's start with the disadvantages, the things that I've been hearing people complain about. Um, we can start with jobs, of course. A lot of companies, because especially the big ones, they feel like they haven't made enough money, right? So they're cutting away humans and adding robots to the mix to save money and to save time and to keep them from having to address human feelings and emotions. So they replace us with robots. I mean, if I was a person who had a billion, I wanted to make 10 billion. I mean, I don't know. I guess that makes sense. I guess the robot will never ask to get paid more money. So when we're talking about disadvantages, we can go there. We could talk about how, people are losing jobs, in grocery stores, they're erasing us people, and they're filling up those aisles with self checkout. You talk about Amazon, they're starting to send cars out to deliver your stuff from Amazon. And you go to a hotel, the hotel, when you walk into a hotel nowadays, that you're being greeted with a robot. To some degree, it's like really cool, right? And I like to think of myself as a tech guy, but I can imagine what this feels like for a person who is not very tech savvy. I can imagine what this feels like for a person such as my grandmother, who, she's a little tapped in, but I bet she can't fathom not being welcomed at a restaurant by a human. So you can also take the conversation to, I don't know, let's say Siri on our iPhones, right? Or Alexa. Let me make sure none of the tech is going off in my house by saying those two words. Those things they make things easy for you. So if you want to go to your HBO app, you can tell Alexa to go to your HBO. If you want Alexa to play your favorite playlist, Alexa, play my chill playlist. She'll lock that thing in for you, get it going. You can cook dinner. You don't have to play with your phone. You don't have to connect to the Bluetooth. She's taking care of you. With Siri, you can ask her questions on the go. Tell her to set clocks for you. Tell her to set the time. What's the time? Uh, Set directions. The accessibility is top notch, right? We can even go a little bit further back with autocorrect. So we typing up something real quick. We type something incorrectly. The phone corrects us, right? These things are placed here to make life easy for us. But what's the backside of it? The other side of it is this. I think for us humans, sometimes things can become a little bit too easy. So we could talk about Alexa. First of all, I'm hearing that these machines, they're recording everything in the house just to become a little bit more friendly with you, just to know you more, right? That's how they get you. Yeah, yeah. In order for the OS to get to know you, it has to listen to what's happening around it. So it's listening to everything. If we talk about our telephones, right? We can go back to the autocorrect thing, like I talked about. Think about all of those times when you were trying to spell a word and or write a word freehand. You remember that? When people used to write papers by hand? Imagine writing something and then now having to second guess your spelling inside of your head, because either you read audiobooks all the time, or everything you've typed over these past years have been on the computer or through your phone. Imagine not knowing where you are in the city because you are just so prone to using GPS. So you never really get a feel for where you are in the city. Everywhere you go, you're being led by GPS. So the accessibility is great. I think it's important. I think it's nice for us to have. But I think for us humans, man, sometimes we need to really get it off the muscle, right? We need to really work for it. We need to really use our brain. Right now, we're being babied. Let me ask you guys this. Think about one person that you've met in the last, I say, 5 to 10 years. How many how many of you can remember this person's phone number? So I remember my mom's phone number. I remember my grandma's phone number. I remember my aunt, uncle's phone number. Some of my friends have had the same phone number since high school, so I remember their numbers. But I guarantee you, they wouldn't be able to tell you mine because I've switched phone numbers a number of times. We can't even remember phone numbers. So for me, it's just like, dang, man, am I too reliant on this tech? Because even though it works for me and I'm able to use it, it feels a little invasive, right? So that could be a great disadvantage. It feels invasive, even to the point for me that I I haven't used Siri or Alexa. I've never used Alexa, and as soon as I experienced Siri for the first time, when did Siri first go? When was Siri first introduced? Maybe I can find it while we're having this conversation. But as soon as I was introduced to Siri, I turned it off. I don't know. Um, I couldn't get into just how it made me feel. Oh, 2011. Siri was introduced to us in 2011. But when I first used it, I just couldn't get into how it made me feel. It was just too invasive. Like I know it's there as a tool, but this tool it was overwhelming for me to say the least. So I can only imagine what some of you are feeling going through this. And the the crazy thing about this, this is kind of poetic in a sense, is that we've all experienced this before. So when Al Gore's internet was being introduced to us, a lot of people weren't on the internet hype. They weren't feeling it, and unfortunately, a lot of people got left behind. Also, while I'm on this topic of the disadvantages, right? So I like to think of myself as a music enthusiast, right? Over this last 3 months, I think. So once the summer really kicked off, I started hearing music renditions of artists, past and present, being made with AI. So these artists haven't made these particular tracks, but these songs have come out and they're AI created. So they take the voice of an artist such as Kendrick Lamar or Kanye West or Squidward, uh, yeah, Squidward or Patrick Starfish from SpongeBob, right? And they make whole songs with the AI generated voices of these entities. So AI created a song with Tupac and Biggie on it. Uh, what? How does this saying go, man? Tupac is rolling over in his grave right now. This is craziness, right? And then another disadvantage. I can continue to go on with the disadvantages. This is one that really catches me, right? Um, so they're saying that people can call your phone. They can take a snippet of that call. All you have to do is say hello, and they'll call you 4 or 5 times to try to get you to say, different phrases with different inflection. And all it takes is about 30 seconds, and they can clone your voice and then use that voice to either trap your children or confirm your information at a bank or, um, I don't know, call a family member and ask for money. This is what's happening right now. So I know we're not supposed to be scared, but damn, you only need 30 seconds? You only need 20 seconds? I'm on this YouTube thing. I'm out here butt naked. Hours upon hours of my voice online, right? Now I have to tell all my people, listen, if you don't hear from me, if you don't see my face, if you don't get it straight from the source, don't even worry about it. Or you just have to rely on people knowing who you are 100%. So that's what it's come to. So now, if you call my phone and you didn't give me a warning, I'm not answering the phone. This has happened to me 2 or 3 times in the last week. Someone calls my phone and hangs up. What do you think I'm thinking right now? Right? So, yes, this is a scary time. But let's go on the flip side, though. It's not all doom and gloom. It's not. I think it's pretty cool for some of these devices to know who we are because it does make things easier. I remember being in my uncle's house. He has a nice size house. And his kids were in another wing of the house. And instead of using the telephone, he just talked to one of the boxes in the house and it passed the message. And online shopping is easier. I mean, I don't know. Getting information is easier. Are we considering Google AI? Google is AI, right? Google Translate. Type into Google, look for some information, get that information back quickly. I don't mind going to a hotel and having a robot bring me my food, long as it's secure, long as it's hot. Checking into an airport, checking into my flight. I'll take it. Makes the lines go faster. Hopefully, the electricity or the power doesn't go out. But yeah, there are some advantages to the AI. Listen, this has been a crazy one. Chat GPT is now the rave of the town. Everyone is talking about Chat GPT. I'm gonna get into Chat GPT for a second, right? So Chat GPT has been a thorn in the side of professors all over the world because their students are going in to Chat GPT and having this thing write essays and papers for them. So a lot of professors and academics are they can't stand this thing, right? So I've been hearing about it. I've never used it. And what I did was I used Chat GPT for the first time today for this episode. All right. So what I typed in was let me get my notes rolling. What I typed in was uh, a podcast script. No, a funny podcast script about water. This is what ChatGPT gave me, and I'll try to jump around. I'm not going to read the whole thing. All right. So, opening line, host. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another hilarious episode of Water Woes and Aquatic Antics. I'm your host name, and today we are diving into the comical world of water. Joining me is a lovable co-host and water enthusiast, co-host name. How are you doing today? Blah blah blah. Splashing good. I'm ready to make some waves and have a laugh-filled episode about our favorite liquid companion. What? Oh, ChatGPT. It's really not that funny. It's like dad joke funny. Okay, so let's dive right in. Have you ever had any funny encounters with water? Oh, absolutely. One time, I went on a tropical vacation and decided to try my hand at snorkeling. Little did I know, I had forgotten to apply sunscreen to my back. As a result, I ended up with a perfectly outlined sunburn shaped like a snorkel mask. I look like a walking advertisement for underwater adventures. Last line I'm going to read. That's hilarious. It seems like water pranked you instead. Speaking of pranks, have you ever played a water related prank on someone? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm reading a whole script from ChatGPT right now. The click of a button took less than a second for them to get a script about water, a comical script, a podcast script about water. Less than a second, it got it to me. So I'm telling you guys, like that's the thing that scares me. It's too easy. It's too easy. So if I wanted to make an episode about water right now, of course I wouldn't use these corny lines. All right. I wouldn't use these lines, but I could plug and play wherever I needed to within the conversation, and I got a whole script right there. So is it an advantage or a disadvantage? Where do we stand right here? Like I can type in a command to say, I don't know, write a text for my next Instagram post at thecouchrf on Instagram. And it will write a text about whatever I needed to write. Like I don't even have to use my brain if I don't want to. So please help me. Is it an advantage or a disadvantage to have something like this in our lives? I don't know. I'm on the fence. And to be honest with you, I'm probably not going to keep the app because it's too accessible. It's too easy. All I have to do is go in and plug and play wherever, make the script fit me, but I have the whole skeleton right there. I could just bust it down however I need to. Whew, crazy. So this episode is not going to be long. This is where I want to go with it next. So we talked about the disadvantages. We talked about the fears attached with it. We talked about some ways that it could help us, right? It can help us a lot. But this is how we can survive this. Or on the other side, flourish in this new stage in our world. So if George Jetson can do it, you can do it. No, the way that we can survive or flourish or both, we can work through both of those, right? For those of you who just want to survive, my advice to you would be to not run from it, but to to get at it straight away. I would hate for you, whoever you are, to not address this thing at all and be completely out of the loop and completely lost and completely isolated in this world because you didn't want to be a part of this movement. And like I said, I understand why you don't want to be a part of it. It's scary, man. It's scary. So my advice to you would be to take your time, especially in these early stages. You know, I'd like to think that this AI movement that we're in right now, it's in its infancy stages. So you have time. Take it bit by bit, piece by piece, and try to crawl before you walk into this process. If you try to avoid it, things are going to move so fast that it's going to make your head spin and it's only going to send you into a box of anxiety and depression and isolation, and it's going to suck. So try to just little by little get yourself through it. And if you're not only doing it, if you don't want to do it for yourself, if you have an elder, a mom, grandma, dad, uncle, whoever, if you have elders in your life, do it for them. Get hip to the game for them because they're going to need us. They're going to need us to walk them through this process as much as we possibly can. So as an individual, I like to think I'm tech savvy and I'm up on the game. But at the same time, you know, I'm I need to be there for my grandmother. I need to be there for my in-laws. I need to be on top of these things so their lives can be easier. So that's the first way to survive it. Address it head on. It's like the bully at school. If you keep running from the bully, they're gonna keep coming for your head top. So the only way to address this thing is to punch that bully in the mouth and say, okay, I want to be a part of this. Now let's talk about how to flourish in it, right? If you want to flourish in this thing, use it to your advantage. If you want to start a podcast, I don't know, use ChatGPT. I wouldn't suggest that you use their script verbatim. because they don't ask you if you want some seasoning in your script. They don't ask you if you want seasoning in the script. They give you that potato salad with raisins in it. So if you want to flourish in this, you use these AI tricks. I mean, I've been hearing about a couple platforms not too long ago where they can help you edit videos. They can help you edit your content. You just put your content into this engine, and the engine helps you, kind of clip and chop things along the way. It speeds up the process. And if you're a content creator, you understand that time is money. The faster you can do it with quality, the better. So it's one thing to survive, but if you're trying to flourish in this, there are a lot of people becoming really successful using these AI tricks, these AI apps, these computers. All you need is fast internet and access. Um, the next way to survive is you can't live in fear. You can't be fearful of this stuff. So we thought in 2020, excuse me, we thought in the year 2000, we thought the world was going to blow up. You had people building bomb shelters. You had people stocking up on canned goods. They probably still had those canned goods in their house from year 2000 or 1999. People were stocking up because they didn't know what to expect. It was the unknown. I mean, that's what fear is, right? Fear. Usually you have fear of the unknown because you can't grab hold to it. It's not tangible, right? You can't see it in front of you. So with this AI movement, it's the same energy. We don't know where this thing's gonna go. We don't know what turn it's gonna take. Could it be Terminator? I don't know. But if the freaking robots want to take over the planet, I mean, well, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yeah. So we can't live in fear, and our minds. I think we've had this conversation before. Our minds are so strong. If you're huddled up in your house because you're afraid of these electronics, I think it's gonna be a big problem. I mean, we talked about addressing it head on. I think that's a part of getting rid of that fear and erasing that element of it. We can't be fearful of this stuff because it is here to help us. But it's an internal battle. You have to be able to say to yourself, like, it's here now, essentially. It's here. Is it what can I do? All right. I can't speak for you all and what you have conjured up in your mind, but what can I do to stop this from happening? Because the scientists have already said this is the best thing to do for our society, for our world. This is what the engineers and the scientists are saying. This is what big money corporations are saying. They're saying this is the best thing for you. This is the best thing for us. So what are we going to do about it? I have a great suggestion for what we can do about it. So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you to attack this or attack that. But what I'll tell you is this: the way that you can survive this and really, really, really be able to embrace this new life that we're heading into is to be human. Our lives are not binary code. We have an advantage over the AI. The AI cannot replicate a real human experience. I don't care how much code they put into these things, they cannot replicate this human experience that we're having. So, my suggestion to you is to read a real book, to write in a journal, handwritten journal, not a digital type on your iPad. No, be human and write on real paper with a real pen. Pick up your phone and call someone. Pick up your phone and actually call someone and have a conversation with them. If you're not in person, pick up a phone and call someone that you love and care about. Have a human experience. Cry a little bit. When you go to a city, maybe instead of putting everything in the GPS, of course, you want to avoid neighborhoods that don't really welcome outsiders. But I don't know, go somewhere and take a walk and explore a little bit. I know it's dangerous out here. I get it. But we have to have these human experiences, y'all. If we don't have these human experiences, all we're going to be left with is our devices. I try to do that with my children. Of course, we can give them the telephone all the time. But I understand the power of these tools that we have. So I'm telling my kids to go outside. Y'all go ahead outside and play. You want to talk to your cousin? You need to call her. You want to talk to your grandma? You need to call her. I'm trying to put that into the kids because, again, if we're left to our devices, it's going to take us exactly where we don't want to be. And that's to a place where we're watered down, we're dumbed down. Every experience that we're looking to have is going to have to be through AI. People are already out here dating robots. They're already dating the AI robots. Like full on relationships. I'm talking about the whole shebang. All right? Getting physical with it. It's happening, y'all. And the crazy thing about something such as dating a robot is that it kind of makes sense. You can make her perfect or him. Have it say what you wanted to say. You can buy the body the way you want the body to be. But again, at the end of it all, advantages, disadvantages, how can we do this? How can we do that? I think you have to be human. Use that to your advantage in your life. We can't substitute the human experience. All right, y'all. So listen, if I missed anything in this episode, give me a holler. Write me on whatever you see us on. Yeah, let me know if I missed anything. Because this is a new topic for me. This is a new space for me, especially now that I'm analyzing it for what it is. So it's one thing to use these things and kind of navigate through our lives, but it's another one to actually tap in and see exactly what they're doing. And you know what I might do? I have an idea about ChatGPT too. I have an idea. But yeah, tap in with us, ladies and gentlemen. If I missed anything on the episode, let me know. And maybe we can revisit this. I'm sure we're gonna have this conversation at one time or another. There are no there are no new songs with Tupac and Biggie, y'all. So just let that be known. And also, just stay tapped in with us. Keep subscribing. Keep listening to us. We really appreciate the interaction. Yeah, I love having these conversations. I love being able to study these things and get into it. I hope you all are having a great day. And we're going to get out of the episode like we always do. Ladies and gentlemen, it costs nothing to be good to someone. Be good to someone today. I'm your host, Rob Fields. We just had an episode talking about AI. And we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.